So I thought maybe explain my journey to help you better understand me and what I've been through. Um, Having over 10 years experience in this lovely mortgage and real estate field, just so you can get a sense of where my experience and where my mindset comes from. So I started in the mortgage business full time, really kind of full time. December 2007, I was 20 years old, about to turn 21. Um, I spent 2008 working bust my ass trying to find deals, trying to form relationships, trying to get people to trust me at 21 years old. In 2008, I had a decent year. I closed a little under $4 million in business. Made about 37,000. 2009, I busted my ass. In the first 6 months, I wound up closing $14 million in business. That was unheard of at the time. No one was really closing deals. Top guys in the business were closing about 18 to 20 million, and I wasn't even 2 years in. I had a couple very strong accounts. I was told by many people that my name should be the closer, so I pretty much tagline myself the closer and post myself a Mariano Rivera, who was obviously the legendary closer for the New York Yankees since I was in the Bronx. After having a tremendous amount of stress and turmoil and fighting for deals and just dealing with people, and I get it from a sympathetic standpoint at this point that everything was urgent, people were losing their homes, no one trusted the mortgage people, so I've always been guilty by association until you've dealt with me, and then 9 out of 10 times you realize that I'm usually the exception to the rule of the mortgage business. So at the end of June of 2009, I finally just had enough. I threw in the towel and was like, screw it, I'm going back to playing football. So I transferred to a small Division III school in Pennsylvania, Wilkes University, where I went, met some nice guys out there, hung out for a couple months. Still kind of did mortgages on the side, not really, didn't take on any new loans, referred them into the bank. And 5 weeks into the season, I wound up diving for a ball and I tore my rotator cuff and labrum. So I dropped back out of school. And I was recovering from surgery when a good friend of mine, Andrew Fernandez from Remax, called me up and asked if I can come and save a deal from him. And the deal was denied by Bank of America and had to close before Christmas because he needed some Christmas money and the people wanted to move into their home. It was like a $450,000 deal, so he had about $13,000 or $14,000 on the line. And not only did I miss him because I was gone, I was in Pennsylvania, but I missed that urgency. I missed that rush I got when I was able to close a deal someone else couldn't do, or really just seeing people truly, truly be happy and grateful for closing on their first home, especially when someone else said no. So I was heading back to the Bronx. I wound up calling another friend of mine who we got off to a rocky start, but one of probably the people I appreciate most in life. I called up Mario Costanz, told him I was coming back. He had just had a baby, little Donna at the time, and I told him coming back into the business, coming back to the Bronx. So he asked if I was interested in taking a ride with him down to Virginia to meet John Hewitt. So being 22 years old? 22 years old at the time, I was like, who the hell's John Hewitt? John Hewitt, I don't know who that is. He's like, Jackson Hewitt? I'm like, no. He's like, you don't know anything, kid. So it turned out to be the owner of Jackson Hewitt, who is now with Liberty Tax Service. So at the time, I had about $60,000 saved up, and Mario asked if I wanted to go partners with him in Liberty Tax. I know nothing about taxes. I still have very limited knowledge as far as tax goes. I know enough to have an educated conversation, but I'm like, yeah, screw it. Why not? Let's open up a tax business so I can get mortgage business out of it. So I did just that. I took my entire life savings down to the penny, and I put it into the tax business with Mario, bought the franchise, leased out an office, desk, employees, you name it. Now I'm getting back into the mortgage business as well, so I had to get everyone back on board, let everyone know I was back in the game after telling them I was done and retired at age 22. So I did just that. So we opened up an office on East Tremont Avenue, and we were managing people, bringing in business, doing mortgages. Probably the worst time in the country and world to do mortgages, 2008 to 2011. And I had no money. So I rented a apartment from a past client of mine, friend of mine. A small 1-bedroom in a basement, and I lived for about $800 a month. And I lived there, and a realtor who was struggling at the time wound up moving in and became friends. It was cool, it was good, and I introduced him and Mario together. They were partners. We decided to open up a Remax in the Bronx. I wanted to understand the psychology behind realtors, how they thought, and really get a hands-on approach. I was only now 23 at the time, So we did just that. We flew out to Colorado, bought a Remax franchise, and opened up Remax Results. I had nothing to do with the day-to-day. All I did was support the agents with their marketing, help bring business into them, and really get a hands-on feel for how it is to run a real estate office, because that's where I got most of my business from. I was really tired of everyone offering me loans in order to give them kickbacks. And still to this day, at age 31, I've never paid a kickback in my life. Ever. Never paid a referral fee. You can't find anyone in this world that told you or will tell you that I paid them a referral fee, because they're full of crap. And being in the Bronx, where that's where everyone pays kickbacks and asks for referral fees, I did that, and I always maintained my integrity. I knew I was going to be able to get the loan done, and no one can give me the most amount of money in the world in order to break the law and potentially risk my license. I was in the business to help people. I wasn't in the business just to make money. So after that, we opened the Remax. We bought a building. We bought another Remax franchise. Bought another Liberty Tax franchise. So now we have 2 Liberty Tax franchises, a mixed-use building, a Remax franchise. We were flipping properties here and there, and it was quite frustrating because I still had my life savings on the line. Every dollar I made, I put right back into the business. Whether it was another tax franchise, the Remax, flipping properties, I was making all this money, and I never saw any of it. I was putting it right back out, spending money recklessly, going out, spending food, ordering breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It was nuts. Looking at $10,000, $15,000 a month American Express statements at 23, 24. No one ever sat me down and educated me on creating a budget. Especially working on a commission-based business with multiple businesses owned and being run. You have expenses left and right that you don't account for. And no one was ever like, hey, let's sit down and really plan for your future. And I think I'm semi-smart at this point. I was smart back then too, but I had never done it before. So I pretty much learned the hard way about everything in life. From credit to loans to buying houses, flipping houses, you name it. Trading stocks, day trading stocks. I think in one day I lost like $70,000 just day trading a stock in 2012 when I was 25 years old. I think I'm still semi-nauseous from that, but I learned from it. But one thing I've always focused on was surrounding myself with good people, people who had good intentions. And some people didn't have good intentions, which is why I currently owed over $200,000 in personal loans I gave to people. But it is what it is. So fast forward, in 2011, I fell in love with the girl of my dreams, and she had a kid, and she was going through a divorce, supposedly, which she wasn't. And it is what it is, So really in my mid-20s, I took a step back, and in May of 2013, I decided to change my phone number, and I walked away from my entire book of business that I had. And at the time, I was doing about $30 million a year in loans. Early 2014, I moved back to New Jersey, and I started working in the New Jersey market, taking on Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, different markets other than the Bronx. Still maintained a nice select group of business that I had in the past, but I cleaned up my referral sources, and it was interesting because, the market's the market, but New York and New Jersey do business completely differently. New Jersey's a little bit behind New York with mentality-wise, with hustle-wise. Everything in the mortgage business happens at a New York pace, a New York minute, and Jersey's a little bit more laid back. So bringing the New York mentality into the Jersey marketplace, it was awesome because people want things done in 3 days, and I was used to doing things in 1 day. A lot of people are out for themselves. I could tell you that I've never hurt anybody, and if I have, it wasn't intentional. A lot of business deals go sour, or a lot of relationships, come down to pride and ego. I can't tell you how many people I told to take a hike with a couple extra words in there. I'm going to try not curse for 2018. Still going to, probably not on camera. And it was just interesting. So in 2014, I decided to unwind everything. We wound up selling the Remax franchise. We wound up selling both Liberty Tax offices. And kind of just freed everything up off my plate. So moving back to Jersey, I still had high rent, still had high bills, still waiting for money to come in. And I really taught myself the mortgage business in and out, so in that way I could provide that level of service to my clients. And I decided to really get into personal development, try and work on myself, getting back healthy again. And that's when I really got into softball. And one thing I always learned was, at a quick age, if you go out and ask desperate, you're never going to get business. So I pretty much just focused on my relationships, showed up, did business, low key, off the radar, and learn the ins and outs of business because I always wanted to, form a team and really help people out. So that's what we did, and that's why we're here. So it's just interesting that a lot of people give up before they're right where they need to be. I can't tell you how many days I wanted to give up. Probably almost every day. I can't tell you how many sleepless nights I had. At one point, under the age of 30, I had, I think, $2.5 million of debt between mortgages, private loans, personal loans, credit cards, business loans, rents, liabilities, responsibilities. But, my main goal is to help you prevent making mistakes that I've made. Don't get me wrong, I had a lot of great people in my life, but I really lacked that person to pull me aside, sit me down, and show me the right way of doing things. I've taken more risk before the age of 30 than your average person takes in 100 years of living. I have experience in everything from management, sales, leadership, mortgages, real estate, taxes, fixing and flipping properties, contracts. I've done it all. So now I'm basically here to just share my experiences with you. I give it to you how it is. I don't sugarcoat anything. I tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. At the end of the day, I'm confident that I can single-handedly be responsible for not allowing another 2008-like economic or real estate collapse from happening in the marketplace. It worries me a little bit that certain loans that took us down in the market are coming back. The fix and flip game in certain areas has me a little bit worried as well. A lot of people are getting in over their head and driving up real estate prices and artificially inflating the prices as well from supply and demand. The New York City market is pretty much maxed out, saturated. I don't think there's any more real true return for your money aside from some small investments, maybe the Bronx, maybe the South Bronx. But certain areas are really tapped out money-wise. So money's cheap right now. And I decided, a couple weeks ago, I decided to finish a book I had started writing last year called The Mortgage Playbook for Millennials. That way millennials can really see that it is possible to buy real estate. It's possible to buy real estate with a friend. It's possible to involve relatives, family, your employer, borrow from your 401k, whatever. It is possible to get it done. But the biggest reason that people stay on the sidelines is they don't know. So again, I bought my first property April 2010. I was 23 years old. I bought a condo in the South Bronx, and I'm grateful for all the experiences and all the tenants I had in there that didn't pay rent, that stuck me for rent, you name it. I've been through it all. I've been a landlord since I'm 23. I've managed condo buildings since I'm 25. Done construction loans, fix and flips since I'm 24. Been there, done that, So if you guys have any questions, real estate related, personal questions, business questions, mortgage questions, or you just want to bounce an idea off me, I'm always here. I'm always available. Give you my cell phone, my email. If you want to come into my office and meet in person, I welcome you in here. So I've done more by 31 than your average person, like I said, has done by probably 101. So the next 10 years is going to be a good, fun ride. We're doing a lot of cool, exciting things. We're creating a lot of programs, websites, businesses that will really help the next generation get into the game when the game is real estate. And the key is to inspire you and make sure that you don't get hurt. If there were more people with higher integrity in the real estate and mortgage field, 2008 would have never happened. So you ask what my goal is. My goal is to prevent you from getting hurt, and my mission is to properly educate you and provide you with information to allow you to have the information to make a calculated risk decision. So coming this spring, we have the Mortgage Playbook for Millennials. It's going to be edited by a very, very, very good editor. He writes for the sports world, and I hope this book really gives you an open mindset on being able to buy real estate and investing in yourself and investing in your future. So forget the stock market, forget fixing and flipping properties, buy real estate, invest in yourself. And like I started out last year with the mindset, I have two things I want from here out in life. I want to be successful and I want to be happy. But what I realized is those priorities have to switch around. Once you're happy, you're successful. I was very successful, made over $1 million by the age of 26, and I was miserable. Now I've invested in people, I've invested in myself, people I love and care about, and I've never been happier. So if you learn anything from me, always do things the right way, pay your bills, pay your debts, and really truly focus on being happy. So anything you need, contact me anytime, or check out themortgagequarterback.com for anything you need as far as videos, insight, education, knowledge, training. It's all there. So always remember, get in the game.